any emotion. Alright. On March 23rd, 2015, the Los Angeles psychedelic alt-rock band Mini Mansions released their second studio album, The Great Pretenders. And here's what I thought. So this is kind of a random band. The band is made up of Zach Dawes, Tyler Parkford, and Michael Schumann, who actually plays bass for Queens of the Stone Age. With its 5th birthday just passing, I thought I'd give this record another listen. I first caught wind of this project late 2014, early 2015 as I was buying tickets to go see TAME IMPALA when they're coming to Toronto that, winter, spring. Mini Mansions was opening for TAME and, I kind of wanted to get a sense of some of their music. I'm not sure if it was just released or they had a link on the ticket page, but they had a link to a music video called Any Emotions, which actually features Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. So I checked it out and both the song and video were surprisingly just beautiful. The video's all kind of done like one shot and the actor is kind of portraying all these different emotions as the song progresses, all in slow motion. It got me interested, so I started kind of listening to all the other songs that they had released promoting this album. So by the time the show came around, I was so pumped up about this album and this band that I bought their vinyl during the in between the sets. English, talk the language. And now it's been 5 years since this album came out, and honestly, I don't frequent it that often. But considering it's its 5th birthday, I thought I'd dust this baby off and try to rediscover what made me love this album enough to want to buy it on vinyl in the first place. The album starts out with Freak Out. It's a great song, it's a lot of fun, and a great way to start the album. There's almost like an Arctic Monkeys vibe in the vocals, but the production as a whole is a little bit more spacey than Arctic Monkeys, and also maybe a little bit more pop as well. The bass work in the chorus is really fun, the drums really hit at the end of each phrase. The song takes you places, they have that kind of like psychedelic kind of interlude breakdown thing. If anything, this shows what potential this band really had at the time. Great way to start the album. We move on to track 2, which is Death is a Girl. I remember this being also one of their singles at the time, and it's a fun track. The vocals are a little bit higher than the previous track, kind of has that, Kevin Parker / kind of like Beatles vibe to it. The drums and kind of rhythms really kind of shine in the song, especially in like the pre-chorus. Yeah, the pre-chorus really packs a punch, and the chorus too is very catchy. Move on to track 3, Creeps, and honestly, this song is kind of forgettable. It really is kind of just like a modern day Beatles, piano-driven track. It's pretty generic. The guitars that are way too affected off the top are kind of like too much in your face, depending on how you're listening. Like passively, the song on record, while you're doing your own thing, this track doesn't necessarily feel too jarring. But really listening up close, it was a lot. The, yeah. At the end are nice at first, but they grow old fairly fast. Track 4, Fantasy. I love the syncopated keyboard and how it really drops into the song. Also the halftime drum fills. Very much Tame Impala's circa lonerism, which again I guess really makes sense why they were touring with Tame Impala. They had that kind of phasery sound happening during the chorus. It's a fun dancey song. Definitely a highlight on the album. Then we get to track 5, Any Emotions, featuring Brian Wilson. Now I think this is the reason why I bought this record. This song is very mellowed out kind of vibe. Almost like a burnt out chill. You have waves of clarity kind of washing over you as you listen. And Brian Wilson's contribution is really beautiful here. He really kind of acts as backing vocals on the second verse and kind of, throughout the rest of that song. Almost acting as support more than anything. But it's recognizably him, and it kind of makes the song really special. The song slowly builds with some more guitar layers and drum layers and stuff as we kind of progress. The third verse kind of has those droning synths that kind of decrease in pitch that kind of make you feel a little uneasy, but ultimately still beautiful. Especially with again, the waves of clarity. Just listen to it. Maybe that makes sense. And that outro is so huge, So happy you. It's a well-crafted song. If you like Tame Impala or even the Beach Boys for that matter, I think the song is definitely worth checking out. Track 6, Vertigo, featuring Alex Turner. Another standout track from this album. The song has a very Arctic Monkeys vibe, which makes sense why Alex Turner would be featured on it, I guess. It's a creepy tune with maybe some organs kind of in the background. I don't know if they're organs. I don't know. There's something there. It's a creepy tune. The core sound is really fat and kind of fun, it really contrasts well with the creepy verses. And then Alex Turner has the whole second verse to himself, and he really brings out the creep. Not brings out the creep, but makes it, with that witchcrafty kind of thing. He literally says the word witchcraft in the first line that he says. I cannot talk today. I was super into the Arctic Monkeys around this time, and that probably also helped persuade me to picking up this record. Track 7, Honey, I'm Home. Again, the song is very reminiscent of Arctic Monkeys kind of instrumentals, although with more like a Tame Impala vocal thing to it. Yeah, this band is really like Tame Impala and Arctic Monkeys like together. There's a really big build-up at the end of the song, you know, with a lot of like kind of drum fills that kind of fill in. Similar to like a Tame Impala thing, but like, you know, the drums are a lot less spacey. They're very concise. The outro of the song really kind of explored the psychedelic aspect of this band, you know? And it really builds and builds and builds and builds, and then it just gets all stripped away, and you have this just kind of like 4-on-the-floor like drum beat. And that's it. Which brings us to track 8, Mirror Mountain. Guitar just slams into that drum beat from the previous track, making this transition so memorable. Like, I know anytime in the last 5 years that I've thought of this album, I obviously think of Any Emotion, Vertigo, but then I quickly remember this awesome transition. There's like a 60s keyboard kind of thing like happening with like fun riffs, very garage rock of that time. Especially the vocals are kind of like garage rock, like falsetto-y, you know, with like the and then the song just kind of like rips and goes wild, you know, like super psychedelic in that kind of direction. And I'm like, oh yeah, this song is also definitely a highlight. At least that like section of like the transition from the previous track into the first half of this track. I remember seeing them play the song live at the show, and this transition got everybody super stoked and like interested, I guess. Like it grabbed everyone's attention. That's what I was trying to say. That's what I was trying to say. My only thing is that the song doesn't change too much, you know? It gets very noisy, which I guess is different, but I mean, yeah. Track 9, Heart of Stone. It's another Arctic Monkeys ballad thing, just less memorable. Track 10, Double Visions. Feels like a fresh breath of air. Reminds me of like a Temples tune, very playful. Some elements are almost like Oasis inspired too, you know, very lighter. It's much more lighter in tone than the previous track. But again, nothing too mind-blowing here. And then we come to the end. Again. Now this song has very like Tame Impala Currents vibes, which is interesting because this album came out months before Currents did. It's a stripped back kind of like rock pop ballad with, you know, like spacey kind of bongos maybe, some kind of drums. There's drums. It's a decent outro for the album, but ultimately kind of forgettable. You know, overall, yeah, you know, I am happy that I have it in my collection, especially because I have fond memories of, you know, discovering the album and again seeing them live in that show. When I listen to it sporadically, it kind of brings me back to that first, you know, discovery of some of these songs. But it's by no means a must-have in a collection. But yeah, honestly, I'd probably give this record a solid 6. But the vinyl itself, ooh, I really like that kind of like goldish color. It's nice. It's nice. Smells nice, I guess. I don't. Why would I smell a record? They should make scratch and sniff records. No, they shouldn't. But yeah, if this video piqued your interest in any slight way, I definitely recommend checking out Any Emotions and Vertigo. Those songs still hold up extremely well. But yeah, have you heard this album before? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, no, thank you. I hope to one day review every single one of these records. One day. But until then, you can subscribe, like, or ride a bike. But yeah, until next time, peace!